The era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived.
Global boiling? The world's doomed, I'm told.
We're in the sixth mass extinction right now.
I only wish someone could have warned us about this apart from every scientist for the last 50 years.
Every scientist agrees. But here's the thing, they don't. Well, yes, they agree that the climate's warming. Climate changes. But scientists don't agree on the catastrophic claims activists and the media make.
Icebergs are melting, the coral reefs are dying, and no one is helping.
If we don't stop the sea level rising, millions of people will be in danger.
In this video and the next, we'll look at 7 myths about climate change, starting with
the great polar ice sheets, which are melting faster than many scientists had anticipated.
If global warming continues at the present rate, then the Arctic could already be ice-free by the summer of 2030.
That's myth 1. The Arctic will soon be ice-free.
We don't have decades. We hardly have years.
These glaciers are on the brink, some already past the point of no return.
If the entire Greenland ice sheet was lost, sea levels would increase by 7 meters.
That's 22 feet. At just 6 feet, one storm surge could leave London underwater, says this BBC documentary. This could happen this century, they say. But is the ice really melting that fast? No.
As we exit ice ages, you should expect some ice melt, but it's not happening at nearly the catastrophic pace that they claim.
Heartland Research Fellow Linnea Lucan researches environmental threats. She points out that studies in Arctic sea ice don't show a catastrophic decline, although ice has melted.
It's really leveled off in recent years. A lot of the time when you are looking at these very alarming images, it seems like where'd all the ice go? There's no ice. There's all these walruses laying out on a stony beach. They should be on big icebergs. Well, it's because it's the summertime. And in the winter, it all comes right back to where it was before.
All of it?
In recent years, yeah, all of it.
For the past 20 years, it's been largely stable. And anyway, this is just sea ice, ice in the water, not the total amount of ice in the Arctic. Almost all the Arctic's ice is on land. And this is the trend line for that ice. You can barely see any decline.
Compared to the amount of ice that's in the Arctic, it is like a grain of sand on the beach. It is so minuscule compared to the amount of ice that's there that it doesn't even show up on a trend chart when you plot it.
It's so frustrating. Media keep interviewing experts who claim
we still see an ice-free Arctic by the middle of the century.
Zealots have predicted doom for years.
There is a 75% chance that the entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months could be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years.
Well, those years have long passed. Nobody calls him on it.
They absolutely should be calling him on it. A lot of these kinds of claims are based on what computer models are projecting.
And they pick the ones that are alarmist.
Oh, absolutely. Well, those are the ones that generate headlines, right?
Here's another myth that generates headlines.
Arctic polar bears are facing near extinction by the end of the century.
Imagine your family disappearing. It's happening to polar bears right now.
That's myth 2. Polar bears are going extinct.
This is the worst one. Polar bears have increased their populations.
Environmental groups ignore that increase to sucker you into giving them more of your money.
Don't give up on polar bears. Don't give up on threatened species. Your support can help Environmental Defense Fund save the polar bears.
These environmental groups are really being sleazy.
Absolutely, because the data is right there. It's not hard to find out that polar bears are fine. Finding some sick polar bear out there to take a picture of does not indicate the health of the species.
So polar bears aren't going extinct, but I'm told we might.
The UN is warning of mass extinctions and food shortages within this century. If global warming continues,
climate change could create a massive global food shortage.
That's myth 3.
Our changing climate is already making it more difficult to produce food.
There is no claim less true.
Agricultural output keeps setting record highs.
Food production has skyrocketed, even amid the modest warming of the past 100+ years.
Extra carbon dioxide is good for food production.
Well, we inject CO2 into greenhouses for a reason. It's because it helps to fertilize plants for faster and better growth. And NASA data show that the Earth has significantly greened over the past couple of decades. And that NASA even attributes to increased carbon dioxide fertilization.
As the climate has warmed, the world experienced the biggest drop in hunger and malnutrition ever. But climate activists don't tell people that.
The United Nations says Madagascar is on the verge of experiencing the world's first climate crisis famine.
Climate crisis famine? No. Madagascar's problems are mostly caused by bad governance, corruption, cronyism, not climate change. But whenever there's a food shortage, or even when prices rise, the media blame climate change.
Food shortages driven by the effects of climate change. We're going to see starvation and famine on multiple continents at the same time.
When coffee prices rose, the New York Times blamed devastation that climate change wrought. But since the 1990s, global coffee production has increased by 82%. The Times focused on a brief decline in Honduras. But even there, coffee production since 1990 is up more than 200%.
It does not mean that there is a long-term climate issue if you have one bad year.
But the New York Times acts like it does.
It absolutely does not. And they get egg on their face when you look at the historic data and you see they've been setting records for coffee production.
But they never apologize. They never say, oh, we got this wrong.
No, and even if they did have a retraction, the damage is already done. The false report already went out.
Alarmist media and environmental groups never apologize. They keep predicting doom. And when they're wrong, they just move on to the next scare. Like this one.
It's climate change creating infernos larger than ever.
That's just not true. Here's myth 4.
Across the world, climate change is worsening droughts.
Droughts are absolutely not getting worse.
Heartland Research Fellow Linnea Lucan studies extreme weather.
The media loves to share stories when there is a major drought somewhere, some very specific location.
More of the Northeast is now under extreme drought conditions.
But here's the thing.
They will completely ignore previous years where there were record low amounts of drought. Every single individual drought that occurs in the United States or anywhere in the world is not evidence of catastrophic climate change, it's weather.
Globally, there's been no increase in drought. And in the U.S., the EPA acknowledges the last 50 years have been wetter than average.
Drought was way worse in the 1930s.
It sure was. Then part of America was called the Dust Bowl.
The Dust Bowl belongs on the list of the top 3, 4, 5 environmental catastrophes in world history.
But somehow, silly people at NBC News now cite climate change as the reason for California wildfires.
Historic drought is the perfect fuel for these epic conditions. But it's climate change creating infernos larger than ever.
Definitely not larger than ever. There has been a modest uptick since the 1980s. But the early 1980s also happened to be the lowest recorded wildfire years in U.S. wildfire history.
The alarmists like to start their comparisons during those record low years.
This graph shows the increase in the area burnt by fires in the U.S. since 1983.
This chart does make it look like wildfires are increasing. But go back just a little further and you see fires in the past burned much more. Still, it is warmer now, and that plays a part.
1 degree of change does not dry out all of the brush in California. The real driver of these issues is mostly going to come down to land management.
Bad land management. California restricts clear cutting, removing most trees in an area, and they don't let small fires burn.
This is the overgrowth that's been accumulating in these forests for the past century because people have been putting out fires instead of letting them burn the way they naturally used to.
So fires grow bigger and affect more people, not because of climate change, but because
there's more suburban sprawl, meaning there are more people out grilling and knocking their Weber over when they're trying to make hamburgers or whatever, and causing grass fires.
But what about climate change causing sea levels to rise?
Yet another bleak picture of what could happen in these United States if global leaders don't take action to stop climate change.
Global leaders, whoever they are, could stop climate change? It's so dumb it deserves a video by itself, but I'll limit this to just myth 6. Sea level rise will soon cause catastrophic damage.
This is what would happen to the sea level in Florida.
The sea level rise is real.
Sea level rise is absolutely occurring, but it's been slow. It's at about an inch a decade or a foot per century. There's no way that people wouldn't be able to adapt to it.
Even if it rises 3 feet per century, we can still adapt. More than 100 million people already live below sea level because their countries did things like build dikes to hold water back. Holland did it years ago without the modern equipment we have now. Climate change may cause real problems, but we can adapt to them rather than get hysterical about myths. The media love to push scare stories, but they've been so wrong in the past. In 2004, The Guardian claimed a secret report says major European cities will be sunk beneath rising seas by 2020. Yes, by 5 years ago. Europe's still here. In the 80s, so-called experts predicted rising seas will completely cover the Maldives. But since then, the islands have grown. They're even building new airports. Finally, our last myth.
Coral reefs are disappearing fast.
By 2100, many of the world's major reef systems may become barren boneyards.
They actually cooked. And that's because the temperatures this time around were so extreme.
The Great Barrier Reef is dying.
The Great Barrier Reef is doing fine. 2024 actually saw record coverage for the Great Barrier Reef.
Not vanishing?
Absolutely not. To the contrary, the Great Barrier Reef has seen expansion in recent years.
Coral did decline for a while, and alarmist scare stories predicted this. But this is what's actually happened.
It's not surprising at all. Corals thrive in tropical conditions.
As I research this, I'm embarrassed for my profession. They just pump nonsense out.
It drives me absolutely batty every time one of these claims is made, and all it takes is a quick Google search to pull up the publicly available data on any of these conditions.
If the good news is so obvious, why would they keep reporting bad news?
Good news doesn't grab headlines. It also doesn't gain research funding and grants.
They're out of business if they don't find a problem.
Oh, absolutely.
It's taken me many years reporting to realize that the scientists who gave me the most impactful quotes that make for great TV were often less accurate. It wasn't that they lied on purpose. It's just that the more you study a problem, the closer you are to it, the more you worry about it. And of course, if it isn't a problem, you don't get attention. If you want people to pay attention, you better scare them.
We don't have decades. We hardly have years.